comments and update on city operations. Mr. Selman.
Mayor, if I, as Andy comes forward in preparation for our city performance report on street operations, I'd like to make the council and the public aware of a few items. The city council has established some goals in economic development, water, and streets. There had been 3 new businesses that have come into the downtown as a result of the action of this council and the TERS board, and there is also set aside for the theater improvements at the Ritz. The Que Bueno Taco Festival in 2018 has also been a set-aside project, and the Artesian Park and surrounding streets have been targeted for that activity. On the water side, the City Council is continuing to put improvements into the Stevens Water Treatment Plant, and on the street level, the project was recently approved for from the 2016 bond on the local streets, and there will be a public engagement process as that project evolves on Wednesday, August 15th at Lindale Senior Center. That's over on Swantner, and also on Wednesday, August 22nd at St. Philip Catholic Church over on Cimarron Boulevard. The reason we need to do the public involvement on those local streets is because when it's very difficult, all the driveways, all the activity, and we need to make people aware that we're going to be coming down their street and blowing it up. And access will be difficult and challenging until the roadway is complete. We also have initiated a program. We got a sandbag distribution system that we just started this past weekend. It was very well attended this past Saturday. This was our kickoff Saturday, and we gave away 700 bags at that event. There are additional events coming up this Saturday on August 18th from 8 to 1 p.m., 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Del Mar College West Campus, and that's over on Old Brownsville Road. Residents are allowed 6 sandbags per vehicle, and we are seeking volunteers to help us out on this activity. So if anyone is interested in doing that, Mayor, they can contact the city at 826-3211. That's 826-3211. And also any information that the public desires on this can be found on our webpage at cctexas.com/Sandbag Saturdays. That's /Sandbag Saturdays. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Andy to give the CPR on the street operations.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Andy Leal, Director of Street Operations. Did it come on? I'll be presenting our department's performance report. Right here. Street Operations is responsible for maintaining our city street system as stated in our mission statement. The department's operational profile represents characteristics of our street system as shown below in this section here. We are responsible for maintaining maintenance and operation of over 1,200 miles of streets, pavement striping and markings, street traffic signs, signalized intersections, and as well as school zone and school zone flashers. Moving on to the baseline information. This information is showing annual trends on several of our street operation activities, but today I want to focus on and highlight the Street Preventive Maintenance Program, our SPMP as we call it. The SPMP began in 2014 and now is finishing up its 4th program year. Under seal codes and overlays by contractor, which is these two here. Under this program, we sealed, coded, and overlaid over 450 streets for a total of 2.2 million square yards and 150 miles of streets. This program has helped tremendously maintain our good streets in good condition and keeping them from further deterioration. And I think citizens are starting to notice our progress. I also want to point out another contract, which is this one here, square yards of base failure repaired by contractor. This contract augments our in-house efforts on base failure repairs and basically doubles our in-house efforts. The last 3 years, 2 contractors have repaired over 1,500 base failures and 130,000 square yards of street pavement. Now, moving on to performance indicator. In this section, we have 2 mission elements and several performance indicators. But today, I want to focus on the pothole indicators. And I know, Ms. Lucy, welcome back, by the way. Let me pull this one up. Percent potholes, complaints resolved in less than 5 days. In this measure, our target is to resolve 90% of our pothole complaints in less than 5 days. And the 90% is represented by this line. We've been successful in meeting our target, but as you can see, in some places, we've fallen behind. In 2014, 2015, and late 2017, we fell below our target. Failure to meet our target correlates with heavy rain, fall, and inclement weather, causing an increase, as you know, with potholes, and that challenged our resources to the limit. Next graph correlates to number of potholes patched, and you'll see what I'm talking about in the spike in where we fell below our target. And in this graph, you can see the spikes in the number of potholes patched in 2015, pretty high level, and then it drops, and then you pick up again in late 2017, and so forth. Just to point out, in December of 2017, the number of potholes patched doubled from the previous month. In November, we did and patched about 9,400 potholes, and in December, it jumped over to almost 20,000. So there's a huge jump in the number of potholes patched there. The one thing that we're doing to help prevent new or reoccurrence of potholes is increasing our application of skin patches. And that leads me to my next graph. A skin patch is a thin asphalt overlay used to seal distressed pavement areas, such as pothole clusters, to help prevent the reoccurrence or the new potholes. And in the past 2 years, we significantly increased our skin patching efforts, as you can see here, 2016 and then in 2017. Both years, we've done over 100,000 square yards of skin patches compared to the previous years. And I hope if we can continue this effort, the effect will be long-term, and over time, we'll reduce the overall number of potholes that we have to patch. And with that, I stand by for any questions.
Mr. Molina?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Lindale, can you tell me what some of the benefits are of the skin patches and why we've increased the use of skin patches?
Well, as I said, the skin patch is used to seal over an area where there's multiple potholes, what I call pothole clusters. They seal the area and prevent any intrusion of moisture that causes the potholes to reoccur or new potholes to form. So basically, you're sealing the area and preventing further deterioration of that area. And so you don't have to go back and patch some of the area and some of the potholes that may occur afterwards.
And what's the process? How long does it take to do a skin patch on a small street or a small block?
It depends. I mean, we've done a lot of smaller patches in intersections where there's a lot of stop and go traffic, and you see in the intersections there's clusters of potholes. We've done them. Those type of patches may take half a day. We've done larger patches. We've done full width street patches. I think you're familiar with the street, the 15th Street that we did. I believe you were out there looking at that. That may take from half a day, a few hours, half a day, to a full day. Sometimes may carry over, depending on the size of the patch that we're going to do.
So for the most part, it's a efficient process, and would you say that it's a lot more economical than some of the other processes out there that we can use for?
Well, it's very
repairs?
effective, is what I would say. It is economical, it doesn't use up a lot of material. For a few $1,000s, you can patch an area, and it helps us not having to go back, and where we think there maybe the same pothole is being patched is really some other area that has failed right along with it because the pavement is not as strong. And when you seal this area, you seal it from the moisture that causes some of the potholes, and it prevents further reoccurrence of some of those.
That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Ms. Opal?
Mr. Leal, you and your team have to have a renewed sense of optimism when you look at having some resources that you didn't have for a while, because there's one sure thing about streets is if you're not able to take care of them when the problem occurs or just before the problem occurs, it's going to be bigger than what it was. So compliments to you and your team for truly doing a great job with limited resources and miles of streets in need of some TLC. So keep that up. The other thing I wanted to mention, two things. One is, they're both related, to compliment you on the quick response relative to street signs. When Hurricane Harvey came through, there was some statistic that you guys had at one point about the number of sign blades that had gotten knocked down. Do you have that at the top of your?
I think we said about 1,000 street name blades,
There was
at
about-
least this survey that we did here lately,
And
identified.
so they were just gone.
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
and in addition to those that might have been damaged or those that just in the normal course of business that need to be replaced. And just recently I had a concern from a citizen because they felt like that wasn't the right name that went back up, and magically it got taken care of very quickly.
Right.
But I think the citizens don't quite appreciate the value of that street sign. I know that post-hurricane it's very difficult for people to find locations when they don't know where they are. And our public safety folks rely on you guys to get it right so that they can quickly address the public safety issues. And I just want to compliment you because sometimes people just don't understand how that magic happens. And you guys are part of that magic, and we really appreciate it. Thank
We
you.
work very hard at it, and we've identified those signs, and we're working toward getting all those done as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other comments. Keep up the good work. Streets are something that are in front of everybody every day, so the
Thank
better
you.
they are, the happier we got our citizens.
You know, we've got a lot of programs going on. The SPMP is a really great program. We're fixing to initiate the RSRP program, which is going to help also. So all that combined is just making things a lot better. And thank you all for that support.
All right, thank you. Wait just a minute. We moved Ms. Rubio, and we hit her button down there, but she found it, so Ms. Rubio.
I was pressing the wrong one, okay? Just being gone a month, you forget where the buttons are. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Leal, the skin patch, that's different from a seal coat, right?
It is. The seal coat is an emulsion, sprayed on emulsion with the aggregate rock put on it. The skin patch is an asphalt, a hot mix
Okay.
mixture.
So it's less expensive than the seal coat? Or,
It is two different things, and I'm trying to think on a cost per square yard, but it's different. I couldn't tell you what the cost is. at
okay,
this
because I'm
point.
just wondering, because there's several streets in my district that are, it almost seems like they've been bombed, okay?
Right.
And people are very concerned because they're having to spend a lot of money in the repairs every time they hit a pothole because they can't even get through the whole street without hitting multiple potholes. So what kind of a street would be considered for a skin patch? Something similar to that?
Well, we try to look at residential streets, low volume type of streets that are not carrying heavy loads.
Okay.
Normal cars. I know I was just looking at, and you may be thinking of Viola. Is one that is in pretty sad shape that we're starting to look at. But those type of streets where there's clusters of potholes
Okay,
that we could easily patch over that are not a structural problem,
Okay,
but that the surface has deteriorated to the point where it really doesn't have much left, the asphalt, and we just cover that up and seal that so that we prevent further reoccurrence of potholes.
okay. I'll make sure and send you some of the streets that I'm concerned about in my
We'll
district.
certainly look at them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Garza?
Andy, just real quick, one more question. I've seen some of the work you've done with some of the skin patch streets. I mean, those
sir.
streets would have been candidates for reconstruction had we not
Right.
done something
Yes.
to reduce the amount of deterioration.
Yes, sir.
The monies that you're using for skin patch operations, are you taking out of the SPMP, or are you taking out of your
No,
your
that's
normal?
our operation, our
Okay.
standard operation.
And how many dollars do we actually have in that each year right now allocated for street?
I don't have that figure for you, but.
It used to be about 10 or 11 million when we started
Well,
the
the-
street maintenance program.
The total budget for the asphalt operation is somewhere around, like you said, around $10 million. The asphalt portion, I think, runs, in material-wise, is somewhere around roughly $2 million
Well, at some
that we
point,
have for our overall budget.
if we get to where we can go back and do a case study of the skin patches that we have done and how long they last, it might be
Right.
beneficial to put additional monies into your street maintenance in terms of skin patch and operations in order to reduce the amount of streets that we're gonna have to totally do reconstruction on,
Yes, sir.
because the dollars on the reconstruction costs are a lot higher. All right, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. All right, we've had the minutes. Is there anything under item C, Mr. Selman, on your manager report?
No, sir, Mayor.
All right.